So now we've got fucking zombies to worry about? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with season 4, episode 5 of Wakfu. And yeah, we're just adding in more and more here. So we've got a kind, benevolent goddess who is trying to help but doing the wrong things kind of accidentally by, you know, doing so. We have an assassin who has escaped from prison and is now apparently on the way to Ava and Tristapin's house after getting back his bow. We have zombies just kind of out of nowhere. And I've noticed something I didn't notice last time. Are the zombies from that realm that the Heliotrope goddess was banished to? Because I've been rewatching that beginning Twin Shadow part of the last episode over and over and over. And I even showed it to my sister. Um, but yeah, I've been watching that, and I noticed that there's these creatures in the realm that the Heliotrope goddess was banished to. Not only the one that's like holding her captive in its hands, but there's like ones that are like hanging around down there too. And you see like the goddess even blast a couple of them with her powers and all. Are these zombie creatures from there? I think they are because I think they looked pretty similar, if not quite the same. It's hard to tell because in that scene, they're like everything is very dark. You don't really get a great look at them. But I think it's supposed to be them. And if so, how did they escape? What is their goal here? So many questions. Does it have something to do with the Heliotrope goddess? Because she escaped with Nora's help? I genuinely don't know where this is going at this point. Because the thing is, prior to this, it's like, oh, we had the Heliotrope goddess as kind of an unintended villain. We had this assassin, Madagascan, coming as more of an actual villain. And now we have zombies to deal with. And it's like, what? And I know we've had like zombies and stuff in this series before, vampires, all that shit. But it's just like, these are probably the most intimidating that we've gotten in terms of that kind of stuff. They're actually scary, like genuinely. Um and I'm just really curious as to what their entire thing is here. There's like quite a lot of storylines going on, and I'm just very interested to see what happens with them. Because we even have like Ruel's storyline as well, that's going on right now, where he really needs to be smacked upside the head again. Like this dude is just making all the worst decisions, and it's just there's just so much, you know. um, but we did get to see some characters from like season 2 again during the little summit the kings and queens and all were having. We got to see General Moffat, the prince, and everyone. So that was pretty fun. Getting to see them again, even if it was just like little cameos. Uh, but yeah, we also saw that Amalia was there, and she and her brother starting to make up a little bit and bond a little bit. And there was definitely the big part of the Heliotrope goddess arguing, you could say, with the royalty, and them like basically pointing out how her plan would take away free will and, basically like ruin how things are. in a lot of cases. And it looked for a second like she was about to attack, but instead she was just like, I'm not your enemy, and flew away sad. And the thing, again, like I said, her villainy is unintended. I don't see her as bad, but what she is doing is bad. She just doesn't realize it. And that seems to almost maybe be a theme, because I was explained what the backstory was from the last episode during the Twin Shadows scene, because apparently, like, that's not really going to be explained in much detail further going forward. Um, so apparently, the Heliotrope goddess was one of the primordial beings, along with the dragon that we saw. They were the first beings in existence and kind of created everything, including the other gods. Um, when she danced with the dragon, it created everything, and that's when the gods started to like form these rules with each other. It's like, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. There are only really a couple rules that are a thing here, or notable at least. And that's like, okay, so they can't create followers. They can't create anyone who would be followers to them. And what was the other one? Oh, they can't like create other worlds or something like that. And the Heliotrope goddess, when she danced with the dragon again, and created the Dofus and had them hidden away in the other world and everything, broke both of those big rules. That's why the other gods and goddesses came after her, because she broke the agreed upon rules. And the thing is, while she is like the primordial goddess, the one who created all the others, she like intentionally and willingly lowered herself to their level in order to, be with them and everything. And she agreed to abide by those rules. So when she broke them, they felt that she was going to kind of usurp control and everything, take over. And so that's why they attacked her and eventually, imprisoned her in that other realm. But as we know, Nora helped break her out. So yeah, really interesting lore there. And it sucks that it's not going to be gone into more, but I assume like they're hoping that the viewers would, know the rest of the content and everything because of the games and all of that. So they put this in there, I feel like, more as a way to like visually show what other people had already known. And it's not like people who didn't know couldn't find out just by, asking. I mean, that's how I found out, basically, so. But yeah, so it continues to show that, again, the Heliotrope goddess is not bad. It's just that she does things kind of without taking others into account. She doesn't really like think about how her actions affect other people. And that's the issue here. And that doesn't mean she's bad. It just means she's ignorant, if nothing else. But I would say also that she's, just not thinking. She needs to think things through more, and if she did, she would understand why these measures she's taking are an issue. She has to learn to see things from others' perspectives. And hopefully by the end of the season she does. Now, I was not told what happened to the other gods and goddesses, though. I presume they were defeated by her? But we know she was sealed by them, right? So, were they. I assume they were defeated just recently. We kind of got that vibe. But she doesn't seem like someone who would come, like, out of all of that and, try to get revenge. She doesn't seem like a vengeful type of character. So I don't know. That we might probably find out still, because that feels kind of important. Right now, I think besides her, the only god we know the location of is the Eop god. Outside of that, I don't know. Unless I'm just forgetting something. And I'm not counting the demigods. But I am very interested to see what happens. Like, there was like the talk about how this is like where the season really starts last episode. And yeah, I mean, I thought the first 3 episodes were already like really great. I don't really feel like episode 4 was that much better because all of it has been fantastic so far. It's like there hasn't been like a massive spike in like quality or anything because all of it's been this good. I would say last episode was probably my favorite, but again, it's just not that big of a spike in quality. I'm very, very excited to see what happens next. So we're just gonna mention as well that this isn't the only reaction we have on this channel. We do 2 reactions every day, Monday through Friday. On Mondays, we also do a reaction to YouTube videos that are requested as donation rewards. We also do gaming content on Wednesdays. Right now, we are streaming through Momodora Moonlit Farewell, but that will be ending fairly soon. If not today. Maybe today, I don't know. But, yeah. I've been enjoying the game, and after we finish that, either way, whether today or next week, it'll most likely be replaced by starting up with some PS5 stuff. The shows on the schedule, though, continuously change as we finish them, as we move on to new stuff, as we take breaks. So there's always something for everyone. We also do movies. We have movies every Saturday and Sunday, though they are recorded earlier on in the week. And just other content here and there as well, depending on just when I get to it. But that being said, let's get into the reaction. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I looked at the title of the episode again right after the opening, and yeah, the subtitles say Necros. But the actual, like, words on the screen, as well as what the characters are saying, is Necromes, with an M. And I'm wondering if Necros is just supposed to be, like, an English translation, or if it's a subtitle error. I'm kind of curious. But things are definitely getting a lot more intense and definitely a lot more insane. But I'm going to get to the Necrome stuff in a minute here. I want to start this off by talking about the other part of this episode, because there's kind of two parts to this episode. There's the Necrome stuff, which is kind of the vast majority of the episode. And then there's the stuff with Madagascan. So we find out that Madagascan is Ava's father, which, you know, in hindsight, almost feels obvious. It's like I'm serious when in the reaction I said I did not for some reason put two and two together that he was a Craw. It makes so much perfect sense now, like thinking about it, and it's just like I just for some reason my mind never made that connection, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of how long it's been that it just never clicked for me. But it's like I have no fucking clue why it didn't like connect. It's like I'm just like, oh, this is like some creepy blind prisoner who's going to be a bad guy, and apparently not, by the way. But it's like instead they go a completely different route with it, and it's and obviously we still gotta wait to see how things completely go, but yeah, it's like I just for some reason never made that connection. Even with the bow, it's just like, oh, I'm just my thoughts are like, oh, he uses a bow, cool. I didn't. I don't know why. 6.5 years away from a series will do this to you. You know, that's gotta be it, right? Like 6.5 years away from this series has to have like frazzled my mind a little, or maybe just I don't know. I'm just dumb. Maybe I'm just dumb because it's like it just didn't click with me that he was a Craw. But it's like, yeah, he's very clearly a Craw. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, the fact that he's Ava's father, like that, I wouldn't have necessarily known. That's more of a surprise. Um, the thing is, she seems surprised by this too. Like when he's, fighting Floppin and stuff. Like she joins in, and she doesn't seem to recognize him. But then, Tristapin mentions it, and she like seems to have a bit of a reaction to it. I'm thinking he's probably been in prison for most of her life, and she probably didn't even recognize him because of that. The interesting thing is that he knows all about them, including Floppin and Ellie, which implies that he's somehow been watching them. I just don't know how that would be the case. Does he have some kind of like mental ability, some kind of connective ability to be able to watch them? I don't know. Because, I mean, ignoring the blind thing, it's like he was in that tower for who knows how long, right? And if he was in there for most of Ava's life, he would have no way of knowing. He wasn't being given news about all of this. No one was telling him, right? So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Maybe it'll explain that, but we get to see him in action here, using his abilities. We also get to see a little bit of humor with him interacting with Tristapin, especially when Pinpin does manage to succeed in, scooping him up and holding him in his arms, which is adorably hilarious. He seems like so like sour about like being caught off guard there. I'm just, it's I'm wondering if there is more of a reason why he wants Tristapin out of the picture, or if it is just, the grumpy, unapproving father archetype. Because that is a thing. That is absolutely a thing. But I'm wondering, is there, like, another reason? Is there something more to this? Because he said, he was talking about, like, oh, like, you know, danger and ruin or whatever follows you, and it's like, he doesn't want that for his daughter and his grandkids and all. It's like, okay, that seems, I don't know, it just seems too normal. But I guess we'll see. But let's talk about the Necrones. So we find out what these are in this episode, and they are indeed the things from the other world. Like, I kind of guessed that. And there are definitely different variations of them, too. And I wonder if the different variations have, like, different specifics about their powers. Because we saw the ones on the lake were floating. The ones we saw last episode just walked and ran. So I wonder if the ones we saw last episode can't float like that. But the ones that were in the mist on the lake can. And then there was another group of them as well that we saw. And then at the end, there was that one that looked kind of like a dragon. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, this is getting insane. And these things are genuinely scary, no matter which variety they happen to be. Like, they're genuinely freaky as hell. And they're scary enough to the point where even the heliotrope goddess is fucking terrified of them. So much so that she's willing to abandon the world of 12 for dead. She believes that all hope is lost, that there's nothing that can be done anymore. And even as we see, like, Hugo fight them back in his... we can still call it his hometown. With Allie Bear and eventually Kilby and Nora as well, we see that even, like, him using his strongest, like, Wakfu weapons and everything, it's like that just feeds them. They literally feed on Wakfu. Because they don't have any of their own. And that way they're kind of like vampires. Feeding on blood. I guess it depends on the lore as to whether or not vampires have blood themselves. Because I've seen lore. I've seen some lore, some pieces of mythology where vampires don't have blood. Or at least have very little blood. And that's why they drink it to fuel themselves. And then you could also make the argument with zombies, like, you know, eating brains because they're dumb and don't have any brains of their own. But either way, these creatures feed on Wakfu, which, as we know, is the life energy of all things that the heliotrope goddess is, you know, basically entirely consisting of. Which is completely understandable why she'd be fucking freaked out by them. Even though she's a primordial goddess, it's like she is Wakfu. It's like she is literally a buffet to them. So it makes sense. But also we knew Hugo wouldn't abandon the world of 12. The goddess is probably really upset about that, but I don't know. Maybe it'll actually convince her to stay and try to fight for this. But yeah, Hugo would never abandon his friends and loved ones and everything. Just the world in general. That's just not him. So, this is... how are they going to defeat them? Because even physical attacks don't seem to really do much of anything. How do you fight something like this? You can't use Wakfu. You can't... You can't, like, physically hurt them. I don't know. Maybe the answer is in the arrows. Maybe the Craw will be the winner, the heroes here. I don't know. I don't know. But this is like getting pretty insane. It is definitely like getting a lot more like dark, I guess you could say. But also just in general, it's more scary. Because these things are scary. And we're like just under halfway through the season. So we've still got quite a bit to go. I feel like once we enter the second half of the season, it's gonna be like shit's hitting the fan constantly. Though it already kind of feels like that. I feel like we need to know more about the Necromes before we can properly fight them, and I feel like the only one who would be able to give us the best information would be the goddess. But she's is she gonna stay? I don't know. Obviously she doesn't want to leave without all her children, but I mean, I think she probably still would. Though, I mean, I guess she didn't account for the fact that a few of them weren't there. Like Adamai wasn't there. The two that are in uh Allie Bear's care aren't there, which is Grugel and his brother, right? I believe so. But they weren't there. Um so it's like she was already kind of gonna leave without a few of them. So I don't necessarily think this will stop her. It would be cool if it did, but what is she really supposed to do? The others might be able to help, but I don't know. It's hard to say where things are going to go. But obviously, we're going to have to get the Brotherhood of the Tofu back together. That's just the go-to obvious. Um, which means we're definitely going to have to catch up with Ruel's story again, and probably finish that before he joins up with them. I guess we'll see how that all goes down. Dude needs to be smacked upside the head a few times. But yeah, it's getting really intense. And I have no idea what they're planning to do for this. Though, I mean, if this is the last season, then this is definitely like a good scale of things to do for it. Like bringing in the Heliotrope goddess, having the villains be like demons from another world. It's like that, the scale of that is huge compared to other seasons. And there was great scale with the other seasons too. Like I'm not saying like other ones were like low stakes or anything. But I guess we'll find out as we continue watching. If there's anything I missed or anything you want to clarify on, as long as it's not a spoiler, feel free. Um, but we do have other stuff that we react to on this channel as well. We do 2 show reactions every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And on Mondays, we also do a YouTube reaction, which are mainly for donation rewards. Every Saturday and Sunday, I put up a movie reaction each of those 2 days. And on Wednesdays, I do gaming content. Right now, we have been live streaming Momodora Moonlit Farewell. But with that ending soon, we are going to be moving into some other stuff, probably from the PS5. So, yeah, a lot of great content on the channel. It's always changing. There's something for everyone. And no matter what, I hope that you stick around and find a nice community to hang out with. We also have a Discord if you want to check that out for hanging out with the community and chatting up about things too. But that all being said, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this reaction. Let me know your thoughts. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.